officer. I have never seen this guy before in my life.
I knocked on his door first. He told me he needed help. Until I hear from the owner, nobody touches that mower.
That young man is the first person who stopped. The city gave him one more warning. That's why I'm here. All right. You can continue helping Mr. Hayes.
The police officer was already turning toward me when Mr. Hayes pushed through the dead grass and said I was the first person who stopped. Karen stood beside the officer with her arms crossed, convinced she had finally found a way to shut the cleanup down. And just seconds earlier, the officer had told me not to touch the mower until he understood who gave me permission to be there. What he did not know was that 89-year-old Walter Hayes had been trapped by this property for months, surrounded by waist-high weeds, dry grass, and side access paths so overgrown that even emergency crews would have struggled to reach him. The city had already sent another warning notice, and if the lot was not corrected soon, Walter could face more fines he could not afford on Social Security. When I first arrived, I found him sitting near the driveway, exhausted, embarrassed, and almost apologizing for the condition of the yard before I even asked his name. He told me he used to work road construction for over 40 years, spending his life clearing land, fixing shoulders, and helping keep other people's roads safe, but now arthritis, heart problems, and limited mobility had made his own yard impossible to manage. His wife had passed years ago, and after that the property slowly started getting away from him. First it was one missed mowing, then another, then the weeds started climbing the fence and swallowing the side yard. By the time the city notice arrived, the grass was so thick around the mower path that Walter could barely point out where the walkway used to be. I told him I could help, and I had only started opening the first section when Karen appeared with the officer, pointing at me like I was stealing something. She said she had never seen me before, said I had no business touching the property, and claimed the city should handle it now because Walter had let it go too far. At first, the officer had to treat it like a possible trespassing complaint, so I stopped the mower, kept both hands visible, and waited. Then Walter pushed closer and explained that he had asked me to come because nobody else had. The officer listened while Walter described the warnings, the fines, and how every estimate he got from landscaping companies was more than he could pay. Karen tried to interrupt, saying the property looked abandoned and dragged down the block, but Walter quietly said she had asked him more than once if he would sell. That changed the air immediately. The officer looked at her, then back at Walter, and suddenly this was not just about grass anymore. It was about an old man being pressured while he was already struggling to keep the last place his wife had left him. I explained that I was not charging Walter anything and that I was only trying to clear the worst sections before the city came back. The officer walked the edge of the yard, looked at the blocked side access, the dry weed stacked